is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. So excited to be back in the house with you guys. It's episode 74. I'm hot off the road, just like last week. Last week we were running around, had a bunch of shows. This past weekend, we had one, but it was an awesome one. We went up to Colorado Springs and we're at the Weekend of Jazz, hosted by Earl Clue. An amazing lineup. Jeffrey Osborne, Boney James, Michael Linkton, Paul Taylor. The list goes on and on. So we definitely have some pictures and some stories from the past week. I'm about to head out on the road. I fly out tomorrow. I hope to see some of you all out there. I'll be in Pensacola Friday, Tulsa Saturday, and Charleston, South Carolina on Sunday. So we'll talk about that, throw up the tour schedule, and so on. And oh, by the way, we have a huge guest today, the one and only Julian Vaughn. It has been over a year since he's been on the show. He came on very early, and so very excited to have him back. He is a special guest on my brand new album, Rising Up. The album drops next Friday, September 10th, but you all get a sneak preview today. I was able to grab him real quick. He sent in an awesome video of the tune that we are performing together, and of course I performed as well, made a duet out of it. So I'll show that for you guys in a little bit as well. Don't forget to hit share. We want to spread the good vibes. We're here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to follow Adam Holly Artist Page, because in addition to this show, we have tour announcements, music announcements, so much content throughout the week. So I want to make sure we keep in touch with you guys. And hey, let's get to some music real quick before we get to our distinguished guest. And you know what? With the new album just about to come out, I was getting a little reminiscent of the beginning of my career, and I figured, let's take it all the way back. Track 1, album 1. This was a tune called Dance With Me. It featured the one and only Gerald Albright, who was so nice. I reached out to him. I had played for him maybe 5 or 6 times, and I said, just on a whim, hey, do you mind playing on my record? And he was just super gracious and jumped on this track. I co-wrote this with a good buddy of mine, Andre Bowman, and it kicked off the first record, just the beginning. So the track starts like right away. So give me a second. Let me get kind of combobulated. All right, I think I'm ready. my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting warmed up here on a Wednesday. That was track 1, album 1, Dance With Me. The original featured the one and only Gerald Albright. Well, as I mentioned, we have an incredible guest in the house today, bassist, composer extraordinaire, Julian Vaughn. So Julian and I, we met many years ago, back before any of my records came out. I was on the road with Brian Culbertson up at the Napa Valley Jazz Getaway. And Julian was up there doing a really awesome show. I think it was himself, Marcus Anderson, Nicholas Cole, and they were doing a show there at the festival. So we met for the first time, kept in touch. And when I did my second record, Double Vision, I had a track that I immediately thought of him. I was like, man, he would sound incredible on this. It was a tune called Traveling Mood, which I co-wrote with my good buddy, Carnell Harrell. Well, the rest is history. That track ended up being one of my biggest tunes. It ended up being number 1 for 4 weeks. So I'm eternally grateful to Julian for being so nice to jump on that tune. And hey, you know what? It worked out so well, I figured let's do it again. So on my new album, Rising Up, I'll throw it up here for you guys. Oh, yes, and by the way, you can grab it at adamholly.com, pre-order it. He was nice enough to come back on a tune called Right On, Right On. And again, it was a tune I heard him playing on from the beginning. And so he was so nice to come back and play. So you know what I decided to do for you guys is we're going to go old school, new school. So from the archives, I pulled out Traveling Mood from when Julian came on very early, 2020 on this show. So I'm going to play that for you guys, followed by the world premiere debut of Right On, right here on AH Live. So I hope you enjoy a little bit of Julian Vaughn. That was the world debut of Rising Up. I hope you all enjoyed the second collaboration between myself and the one and only, the incredible Julian Vaughn. Julian, really appreciate you, man, so much for coming through a second time and just killing it. And hey, you guys know what time it is. It's time to bring in my lovely wife, Cat Holly, with the Cat Cam. Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. How did we do with Right On, Right On?
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, I'm never a stranger for a compliment. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really liked it.
It was so much fun. And as I mentioned, I heard Julian, when I wrote that, I heard him immediately on it. And shout out to all the other cats on that record as well. You hear Donald Hayes on saxophone. My good buddy Carnell Harrell is in there playing some of the synths. I'm doing the rhythm guitars, obviously the lead guitar. And I also played the Rhodes and some of the strings, organ. Who else is on there? Mel Brown on bass, Eric Valentine on drums, and Ramon Islas on percussion.
I didn't realize Donald was playing on that too.
Yes, that is Donald Hayes,
Ah,
the
okay.
one and only, the most recorded gospel saxophonist of all time. He's on like every hit gospel tune ever. He's from
Right.
Memphis, but now is in Los Angeles, and he appeared on a couple of tracks. He was nice to play on that one, and he also played on Undeniable, which I played for you guys, I think, last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, track 9. And
That's
he
what
did
I was thinking about. That's why I was
Yeah.
confused when
two,
he was on this.
two,
Yeah.
not one.
Two, not
And
one.
and then the one and only Steve Hall. I saw you, Steve, in the comments. Appreciate you so much. He put in
Right?
like 80 fire emojis. You're too kind,
Aw.
Steve. Steve mastered this, and as he's mastered all of my stuff. So appreciate you, Steve. And yeah. Oh, and by the way, wanted to do a shout out as well. I did a post a few days ago, so you might have seen it, but just wanted to take one more opportunity to also thank Hiroshi on the artwork and design, and Dan Boise on the photography, and also my lovely wife Kat on the makeup and wardrobe. You were doing
Aw.
like 3 jobs. You were
I
like,
really was.
you were steaming, you were doing my hair, my make. It was crazy. So let me
Yeah.
just throw up. I want to throw up the full package for you guys so you can see. I'm very proud of this. In fact, I was talking to my good buddy Darren Ron the other day. He said, "Best album cover yet." He didn't say anything about the music, but no, I'm kidding.
Best album cover.
He hasn't heard it yet, but he did see the cover. And look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? So appreciate all 3 of you, Hiroshi, Okuhara, Dan Boise, and of course my lovely wife, always making sure I look straight. And
Well, you know.
this turned out so awesome, and very few edits. Hiroshi sent this to me, and it was like, bam, it was done.
It was so good.
We kind of went back and forth on the font a few times, and then ended up going with one of his first things that he sent out, first options.
Yeah.
And it just turned out gorgeous. So appreciate all 3 of you for knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, the font did, it was like, I think only 1 or 2 edits, right? And just with the font, really.
Well, what we ended up with was one of the options he originally sent us.
Okay.
So we played with the font on another option, and then we ended up just choosing one
Yeah.
of the original ones. So
Yeah, the font for Adam's albums is always very meticulous, because I tell him all the time, like, it can't look like clip art.
you're funny.
Because, I mean, not naming names, but I've seen so many different album covers, and it looks like they like kind of put it together on Microsoft Word or something, and I'm just like, no. So
No, I'm very proud of this album. Both the songs and then also the packaging. It just
Yeah.
turned out really awesome. And once more, I just want to do another shout out to all the Indiegogo supporters out there. You guys have been so amazing, and we've been seeing you guys pop up in the chat. Most of you should have, if you haven't already gotten your perks. We sent them out, the last of them, last Thursday. So if you haven't got it, it's in the mail. But really appreciate you guys so much. You've just been so incredible throughout the years. And a
Yeah,
lot of
thank you
people
guys
have
so
been
much.
complimenting you on the packaging. I
Aw.
cannot take credit. Kat wrapped all of those, and she also got the custom tissue paper with said Adam Holly Rising Up, which is very classy. So appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been years now that I've been doing a lot of the packaging for the either GoFundMe, Indiegogo, all of the crowdfunding. Yeah. And just a lot of time on the computer, a lot of printing, and a lot of ordering of things. So
she got the paper cutter out and was lining everything up, and
I do
a lot
have
of those
paper cutter,
a lot of those you printed like 10 times trying to get it lined up just right. So
because I use cardstock for a lot of things, and your everyday like just home office printer isn't accustomed for that. It's just like for regular things. And I didn't feel like going to FedEx or Staples or anything like that. And I said, no, I'm going to make this work at home. So I had to sit through each paper and like hold the cardstock as it went through the printer.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's so thick. And so when the printer catches it, it shifts the paper inside. And so when it comes out, it's like crooked. And so, I had to do a lot.
And I have to say, speaking of printers, this was life-changing. I don't know what we were thinking the last 6 years, but we got a thermal printer where you can print the actual USPS postage right on a label, stick it on the envelope. Wow, what a lifesaver. It's unbelievable. I did almost throw it down the stairs because it wasn't formatting properly. But once I finally got it, oh my goodness, you don't have to go to the post office, wait in line. We got a scale. We just weigh it, then print out the postage, and then you can drop it off either at the post office or even UPS. That's actually closer to us is the UPS. So we just drop it off there, and bam, it goes out. So that was awesome. Yeah. I know I'm kind of nerding out on the postage, but it's kind of amazing.
So much time because previously, it would be written by hands, but then we'd have to double, triple check everything, and then not only that, placing it on the packaging.
Yeah, it was wild.
So it was very time consuming, which we were happy to do because we appreciate the support, but we were just mind blown at how quickly and how easy it was.
Shout out, and they are not a sponsor, although I will welcome it. Stamps.com, unbelievable. The postage is actually cheaper than if you go through the post office, and then it auto-corrects when you put in the address. Okay, I'm really nerding out now. So let's hand it over to you, Kat. What are the people saying out there?
Well, so many people loved your first tune.
Traveling Mood.
No. Your old school tune.
Oh, before the interview, or before Julian. Yeah, Dance With Me.
Dance With Me.
Yeah, track 1, album 1.
I was going to say Dance With You, but that's Greg's
song. That's
Greg
Manny, yeah. We were always confused.
So Dance With Me, yes. And a few people thought it was a new song. And I guess they aren't familiar with just the beginning, your first album. Yeah,
check it out. It's my very first album, came out in 2016, and that song was not a single. So if you listen to jazz radio, you're probably familiar with 35th Street and Joyride and I Don't Mind, which were the singles off that record. But yeah, there's another 8 really cool songs on that album, so check it out. Just the beginning, 2016.
Just the beginning.
Old school.
Wow, I know, that's so long ago. And then, of course, when you guys first banged out with the, I guess I should say pandemic old school.
Yeah.
When...
Well, it's pretty funny because this is pre the Sony DSLR cameras. This is at our old house in the old studio. I had the COVID curls.
Right.
The other thing I noticed from picture to picture, or from video to video, is that a lot of people were like, oh, that's cool. Who was playing bass in the first one? Who's playing bass in the second one? Those are both Julian. I think he just got even more jacked than he was, in
2020?
In 2020. It's like, man, the biceps are even bigger. I saw someone ask, how tall is Julian? If I remember correctly, I think he's 6'7", which is funny because we've done a few shows together, and I'm often one of the taller people on stage.
Right,
I'm
true.
average height, but a lot of musicians, for whatever reason, are below average height for whatever reason. But yeah, every time there's a great picture of me and Julian at the Lake Arbor Jazz Festival, and I just look like a child. But no, Julian is so awesome. What a great talent. And yes, so in case you were wondering, that was Julian in both videos.
That was Julian in both videos, yes. And so many people love, and that is such, like, it's just a really nice, like, cruising tune. And so many people love the vibe. They love the groove. And yeah, like you said, that was one of your biggest songs for that album. And people love it.
And I've had people come up to me. In fact, I played Seabreeze about 4 years ago and did not do Traveling Mood. And I literally had 3 different people come up and complain, why didn't you play Traveling Mood?
Right.
So that's a tune that's often in my set just because it's just such a feel-good vibe, you know? It's a fun tune to play.
And a lot of people were saying Traveling Mood. They were like, oh, that's my jam. That's one of my favorite songs. Which, you know, can attest to, like you're saying, it was one of your biggest songs. And yeah, it's a really cool tune. And then your new tune, Right On. They loved that too. So many people were blown away. And I do believe Rhonda Kilpatrick, hi Rhonda,
hey,
watching
Rhonda.
from San Diego. She said that was one of her tunes so far, her favorite tune so far on the Rising Up album.
Appreciate you.
Which it is a really cool tune.
Oh, thank you.
And so many people were like, oh, I'm digging this. I love this. And of course, people were saying, oh, sounds like a hit.
Oh, appreciate it.
But yeah, it was great. And it was great feedback as well.
And also big thanks to Julian. His AC went out, and so he hit me Monday night. He's like, man, I don't know. He's like, it's hot, you know. I gotta get out of here. And but he ordered his part overnight, fixed the AC himself, and then he recorded that at around 1 a.m. last night. So you know, shout out to Julian for making it happen.
Shout out
Late
to Julian.
night
Thank you,
recording.
Julian. It sounded great. And so many people were loving that you guys did another video, because I think a lot of people, I know previously when you said you were going to debut a song a week for the new album, I think they just thought that you were going to do it alone. So they were super surprised today when you did your new song and then you had Julian with you.
I'm being a little strategic. I started off with all the tunes that didn't have features, and I think I've played all those for you guys. So now each week I'm having a special guest jump on video, and I've talked to all of my special guests and confirmed they're willing to come on and do duets to kick off the release of Rising Up. So shout out to all of my special guests, and we're just finagling. They're all on tour because they're all incredible artists. So we're just working out the timing, but you will hear from the other 3 special guests in the coming weeks.
That's awesome. Okay, and so when you were, before you had played Traveling Mood, and you were talking about how you first had met Julian.
Yeah.
Kathleen Wade Caston said that that's where she first saw Julian, was also at the Napa Jazz Getaway.
Yeah.
And she says she's been a fan ever since.
100%.
And I think that's the first time, was I with you that year?
You know, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Been to Napa Valley like a million times. Shout out Brian Culbertson. I think I've been up there 4 or 5 times, so I can't remember if you came that time or not.
I don't know, but I do remember that was my first time as well meeting him was in Napa.
Well, there you go.
And when you guys were showing the video of Traveling Mood, James Queer said he would love to see you two together live.
Yeah, we've done it a couple times. We did it in Kansas City at the Hot Dog Festival. And then we also did it, as I mentioned, in Lake Arbor. So, yeah, hopefully, again, it's always fun linking up with Julian. So hopefully something else pops up.
Yeah. And, of course, as always, so many people are still talking about getting their copies of their Rising Up CDs, getting their T-shirts.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, yes, and let me put it on just the Cat Cam solo because Cat is showing off the T-shirt, the Rising
Showing
Up
off the
shirt.
Rising Up T-shirt. Oh, wait, let me move my mic.
Yeah, come on, get it together. Come on, model. Looking very cute. I like it. And we've been getting pictures for people. So yeah. Definitely. If you've got your shirt, snap a picture, throw it up in the chat, or message me on social media. We love seeing those.
Well, actually, I was thinking, because since we're coming up to the official date of the release of Rising Up, if you guys wanted to send us pictures of your photos of your CDs, or even you wearing your T-shirt or you holding your CD, and then that way next week, and then when we're releasing Rising Up, we can share your photos on AH Live if you would like.
No, that would be
and
awesome.
that would be really fun.
Let's do it.
Kind of like our ugly Christmas sweater.
Yeah, we had some incredible submissions for that.
Yeah. And so these are the women's shirt. So the women's come with the V-neck.
We had several requests for the V-neck, and so we made it happen. And we also just tried to mix it up on the colors. So we went with what was the official? They had a fancy name for this color. Was it ash? I think.
No, it's like a heather gray.
Heather, thank you, Heather. I don't know how I got ash stuck in the head. Well, I know why, because we got some pictures of the California fires that we're going to show you in just a second.
my
Maybe that's why ash was stuck. But heather gray, we went with
Heather
this
gray.
time.
And it's like a jersey athletic fit, so it's more fitted for the ladies.
Yeah.
So if you don't like a fitted shirt, then you would just go with the men's.
There you go.
Yeah.
100%. Awesome. Well, should we transition to those said photos?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have a bunch to share with you guys today of the past week. What's going on here near our home, on tour, etc. So we had a big fire. This is a view, looks like from our loft, if I'm not mistaken, looking north. And yeah, there was a huge fire. The one thing about where we live, it's a very desert kind of terrain. So fortunately, even when the fire's that close, we weren't like thinking, oh, it's gonna come get us, But it was pretty wild nonetheless, and we had a ton of smoke.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
So what you can't see is behind these homes, and then right before the mountains, there's a freeway, like a major freeway. And so that's behind the freeway. So we're safe because the fire would literally have to jump the freeway. So
yeah, here's
so
another
we're always
one.
okay. That's just a little closer.
Yeah.
But it's huge, and that is right when it started, and it's a little contained on this side where we are, but further down, like more into the desert lands, further than where we are, it's not very contained yet.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And here's another one from the freeway.
Another view from the freeway. I was driving home. This was the same day, and it was getting larger and larger. And I was
crazy.
like, oh my goodness, it's spreading.
Pretty wild. So here's a little Adam. Looks like you probably have a story about his knee.
Okay, so last week we talked about his Osgood Slaughter and his knee. So this was last week, right before AH Live. I had to take him to the doctor, and he had his knee brace there. He was getting a second knee brace, and so we have the other knee brace.
Yeah.
Do you have the picture for that?
Well, I have this one knee brace from you, and then I have a live action shot of him shooting.
Well, yeah. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's just a very thin brace right under his knee. And then as you can see, he's active. So with this brace, it's, not taking up the whole leg, and it's just putting pressure on that bump that we all discussed that was protruding out, and then for the opening of the knee where the bones aren't touching, so that just puts pressure on that area. And he says it's great. He's able to still do what he has to do. He started PE this week again.
Yeah.
He goes to basketball training tomorrow after having a week and a half off. So, and then today was the first day that he actually was out. Right after school, I took him to the court. We walked down to the court and did some training.
He was feeling good because right before the show, I was packing for the upcoming trip, and he was kind of dueling with me with the weights. We kind of pack in our gym, and he was like, "How big of a weight can you do?" That he was kind of showing off. So I think he's feeling good. I think he's coming around.
He is, and today he said was the first day at PE where they went to the training room that they have on campus. And he's like, "Mom, all the stuff they had in there was for kids." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, the weights, they didn't have any weights that I could lift." I said, "Like what?" And he said, "They only have 5 pounds." And I said, "Well, I'm sure they do that, just for safety, because a lot of children probably don't have free weights in their house." And, I was like, when you're at home, you get your 15, 20 pounds, whatever you do. And he's like, "Yeah, they didn't have anything I could do."
No, he's been pumping iron. So here is a photo. This was the view out of our hotel at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. We had such a blast. Huge shout out to Earl Clue, his lovely wife, Denise. They were so nice to have us back. We played in Kiowa, at their other event a few years ago, and this time we played up in Colorado Springs. It was so much fun. Shout out to the incredible band. We had Tom Braxton on sax. We had the Gaines brothers on keys and bass, Will and Lamar. And we had Third Richardson on drums, and it was so much fun. I noticed you grabbed a picture. I guess maybe you weren't singing at this point, so you were taking pictures of us.
I
was like, wait a second, you should be on stage.
I was off stage. I think I may have been behind the curtains backstage, waiting to go on. And I don't know what song
That's a great picture. I like it.
But I kind of just stuck my phone through the curtain there.
It was tricky, too. It was a late night show.
It was very late.
So we started at 11 p.m., and normally we're in bed.
Yeah.
So we got some coffee and made sure to be hyped, but it was a lot of fun. We had a blast. And then I didn't tell you this about tell you about this, Kat, but I just got some pictures from our Rochester show.
Oh, really? Yeah, because we didn't have any last week.
Yeah, and so the talent buyer, Andrew, shout out to him. He was helpful in putting the show together, sent us some pics. This is Judah Seeley, who also was instrumental in putting the show together, and he did a set of his music, and then his band backed us up. It was so much fun. So I just had a few pics from Rochester, New York from a couple weeks ago, and they got some good pictures here of us. You were looking gorgeous.
How
I had
cute.
forgotten about this dress.
Thank you. I did too.
Yeah.
I normally don't wear red on stage unless you're wearing red, but we had 6 shows in 5 days, so whatever I brought, I had to wear.
You decided to show out on this one. No, so it was so much fun. There's another action shot, me and Judah. So shout out to Judah. He's got a great single out right now that's doing great as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, the gentleman there, he already is asking about when we can come back. So pretty
Nice.
awesome. So it looks like we'll be back in Rochester
Awesome.
sooner than later. So huge thanks to everyone that came out to that show. We had an awesome turnout. The club at Water Street, it was their first show since the pandemic, and looks like we'll be coming back. So make sure to check the calendar.
Since the pandemic. You mean since lockdown?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And speaking of touring, here is the schedule coming up this weekend. We've got, unfortunately, if you wanted to see us in Pensacola, it's sold out. I hope you have your tickets. We'll be at the Gulf Coast Summerfest kickoff party. Then on Saturday, we'll be in Tulsa. That's hosted by Michael Fields. And then on Sunday, we'll be in Charleston. That's a show myself and Lindsay Webster at the Low Country Jazz Festival. Very excited to play there. Spaghettini is also sold out. So any of you SoCal people, look for a show. Just pencil this in your calendar, October 3rd. It's not announced, it's not for sale, but just pencil it in your calendar because we have a very cool SoCal show coming up. We'll be in Lubbock, West Texas. That's coming up. Then we have Louisville, Davenport, and Chicago. I think there's still just a few tickets left for that. Then we'll be in Atlanta and Birmingham and Columbia, South Carolina, and then at the Catalina Jazz Festival. Always fun to play there. That's our 3rd time doing that festival. Then we'll be debuting at the Florida Smooth Jazz Weekend. That will be myself and Jasmine Gent. And here's a new one I was just able to announce at Hub 757. This is an awesome Christmas show that is for sale, so grab your tickets. And finishing up the year in St. Louis and in Richmond. So get your tickets for that, and a ton of shows are coming in. I think I booked like 4 shows this week for 2022. So go to adamholly.com, get on the mailing list so you can find out about the tour schedule coming up. There are a ton of shows coming up this year and looking into 2022 on the Rising Up tour.
Rising Up.
So can't wait to see you guys out there. It's going to be so much fun.
So this is on the lines of your tour dates. Lamont Jefferson says, you never come to Maryland. I had to go to Norfolk twice.
Well, thank you for coming down. And it looks like we'll be in Norfolk again in the spring. So look out for that. It's not announced yet, but pencil it in your calendar. In terms of Maryland, we did the Lake Arbor Fest, which was awesome. So let them know you want us back. That was so much fun. That was a show, me and Julian, and I do remember talking to the promoter via social media a couple months ago, and he was talking about, hey, we'd love to get you back. So hit up Kevin Alexander. Let him know you want us back at the Lake Arbor Fest or anything else in the DMV, and let's make it happen.
Make it happen.
Yeah. So I think it's time for Ask Adam, unless you have anything else. Oh, look at you with your mocktail.
Yeah.
Or is it a cocktail? I was like, dang, you're hitting it
almost
early.
Put vodka in it. I did, but I was like, you know what? I'll wait till after the show.
That is funny.
Because I have to do a lot of talking.
Right.
No, I'm just so thirsty because it gets so hot in the studio and in my little corner over here. So I needed some, it's just sparkling water with some rosemary.
All right.
If you guys are wondering, it's just water.
Right. That's what she's telling us.
So it's very refreshing. No, because it's hot.
Well, let's shift on over to Ask Adam. We didn't even get to Ask Adam last week because we had so many pictures. So let's do maybe an extended Ask Adam today.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
So first, Juanita Canley, she says, where do we send photos? So you can message the photos via Facebook Messenger to Adam's
100%.
page or even myself. Or you can email. If you ever get Adam's email blast about once a month, you can always reply directly back to him through those, so he will get that.
And if you don't have my email, it's very easy. It's just adamhollymusic@gmail.com. So just hit me there.
Super easy.
Yeah.
And, oh gosh, we have so many. Okay, and Joseph England, he says, what model are the keyboards that you have in the studio?
Okay, great question here. I wonder, is there a shot where I can show kind of more of the gear? Let's see. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see. So this down here is, I mainly just use as a controller. It's an Alesis Recital. So it's not a super fancy keyboard. You know what I like about it, though? Is that, and actually it's funny, a lot of keyboards that have speakers on it, it's almost like a joke, like, oh, that's a toy. It actually comes in super handy because when I'm starting up the computer, starting up a new session, I can turn this on and I can kind of noodle. And I've actually written a few songs that way. Let's see. So anyways, it comes in super handy. Up here is a Motif ES7, which I use as a controller a lot of times. I also use some internal sounds as well. Up here we have an OB6, which is a module to get a lot of the Prince and Morris Day kind of sounds. And up here I've got a Juno, Alpha Juno 2, which is killer for a lot of bass sounds. And then I use a ton of soft synths plugins as well for a lot of the different sounds I use. So it's a mixture. I definitely love the real deal, the analog, but use a lot of plugins as well. So hopefully that answers your question.
Allison Fader, she says, have you ever played a cigar box guitar?
I did, and this is a funny story. I had a run where I was in a bunch of TV shows and movies all around like 2016, 2017, and I appeared in the movie Pop Star, which starred Andy Samberg, who you might know from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or you might know him from Saturday Night Live. So anyways, they actually had me play that guitar in the movie. I don't think it made the final cut, but yeah, I was messing around with the cigar store guitar, and it was really cool. I dug it. It had a cool vibe. You know who actually uses one in real life is Randy Jacobs. I've seen him use it when they do like an unplugged kind of thing, and it sounds so cool. It's
Randy
so
Jacobs
killer.
is just like so talented.
He's amazing.
He's
the man.
Ellen Nakata Harper, she says, when is Adam coming to perform in NorCal? You might be tired of hearing me ask so often.
Well,
and then Janet Jones kind of piggybacked on that and said, I'm waiting on them to come to Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, well, Cleveland, we had a spot we would hit pretty often called Blue Jazz. They're still closed due to the pandemic. So we're waiting for Blue Jazz to open. We've played there twice, sold it out both times. They're always ready for us to come back, but then it got kind of derailed. So let them know you want us there. There's also the Hot Ribs and Jazz Fest. Let them know you want to see us in Cleveland. What else is up that way? They've also been doing some events at the banquet hall there. So let them know, request us. You know, it really does make a difference when you reach out to these either promoters or different venues when you put in the request, because everyone and their mother, all of us artists are reaching out trying to get booked. But when you guys reach out and actually are like, yes, I will buy a ticket, we want to see Adam Holly, it makes a difference. So hit them up, bug them.
Bug them. Sheila Singleton says, Adam, when you're performing, when do you feel you have it in that zone? When you've hit that zone and you just take it there?
Wow. It gets easier but one thing that's helped is I started touring at the age of 12 in the bluegrass band I was in, and then I was touring in high school. So back then I used to have a ton of butterflies and be scared out of my mind. And then after a while, you just get used to it. And for me now, it's more about the audience connecting with you guys and also connecting with the band. The nature of the industry now, I use a different band in every city. And so that's kind of part of my thinking too, is just all of us kind of, keeping the train on the tracks. And, but I feel fortunate, getting into the zone is, I'm able to get there pretty quick. I definitely have a routine. I usually like to work out, but just like a half workout before the show. I'll usually just do the elliptical for like 20 minutes. I'll have a light meal, usually a salad, Caesar salad with chicken or something like that. Get caffeinated if need be, and then hit the stage, and then not drink too much water because I don't want to have to run off the stage during the show. But no, I feel fortunate, of kind of getting in the zone. Fortunately, it comes pretty easy. So, I'm just grateful to be out there performing. So having a lot of fun with it.
Nice. Michelle Dahlwin says, so are y'all getting your sea legs back as far as concerts go?
Yeah, well, the first one was wild because the very first one was Seabreeze. So that was kind of crazy to, play for all those people on the very first show. But it was an incredible show. That was myself and Lindsay Webster. And since then, it's been like a train that just won't stop. So we're just having so much fun out here. And it's so great. I feel like I have 2 records worth of new music, because I never really got to tour the Escape album because we only did 2 weeks worth of shows and then everything shut down. Mm-hmm. So we've got new music from Escape. We've got new music from Rising Up. And I'm just having a blast just bringing the new music out. People are loving, especially the new single Rising Up. People really been digging that. And not that I didn't think it was a good tune, but there's a difference between making a record, having it do well on radio, and then performing it live. It's 2 different things, and people have really been just enjoying the good vibes, so I'm appreciative of that. And by the way, I forgot to mention, just a couple days ago, shout out to my radio promoter, Jason Goroff. Rising Up debuted. It has only been out for 3 weeks. It debuted at 18 on Billboard. That is my highest debut, my fastest debut. So huge thanks to all of you out there listening, to all of the station directors, program directors. Just appreciate you guys so much, and I'm just so happy we're all getting on these good vibes. They're rising up.
Rising up. So Robert Zahn, he just asked, Kat, what's the plant in your drink? It's rosemary.
Yeah, something fell in your drink,
He's
Kat.
so funny. Let me skip that one because we already answered that.
Okay.
Oh, Paula Sanders, this is such a good question. I saw this last week. She says, Kat, do you keep a book documenting all of the shows with a picture of all the venues?
Oh,
and
that's a good idea.
I do not. I know. It's such a great idea. I collect, which is really weird. I collect hotel keys and I don't really do anything with them. I just have them like in my drawer, or sometimes they're stacked in my bathroom drawer. And they don't have like cities or states on them. A lot of the times they don't even have the name of the hotel. I just think that it's kind of interesting how one person can have so many hotel keys.
Yeah.
And sometimes I end up throwing them away because if I'm cleaning out a bag or taking stuff out of my suitcase and I'm just kind of like trying to go fast, I end up throwing away like a handful.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of band credentials. Like Adam had lanyards or bracelets or stickers that he had to put on himself, or even for me. But definitely when Adam was touring with a lot of people, I have a lot of that stuff. So I just have a huge bag of stuff. And actually at the old house, on one of the walls, I had a bunch of Adam's lanyard credentials hanging on the wall with like stickies. So I don't know. I do have a lot of things. So I should compile something together to make one thing, because it would be really cool to look at in our old age, Adam. And then, of course, you know, when Adam Jr. gets older. But yeah, I have a bunch of stuff just everywhere, but I should really like actually do something with it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good
really
idea.
Cool, yeah. And Nicole Caselli says, has Adam Jr. declared a favorite song off of Rising Up yet?
Oh, the jury is still out. He's still evaluating, and I'm sure he will get back to us. If you guys remember, he loved 1 a.m. from Double Vision. That was like one of his favorite of all time. He kept asking us to replay it, so I was really honored for that. So I think the jury's still out. He's still working on it. I also saw Nicole. She mentioned would love to get you back to Rehoboth. I would love to come back. And you're right. It is the same weekend as Catalina, but let's work on 2022. Let them know you want me there. I usually alternate at Catalina and do that every other year. So maybe we can get a back and forth going. Maybe we can do the even years with Rehoboth. So would love to get down there.
Nice. So this is from Robert Zahn.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what was the toughest part of that 6 shows and 5 days trip? And do you have different backup musicians in every city?
We did. We had a different band in every city. But, you know, it gets easier over the years. A lot of these markets I've played multiple times. So you end up having musicians that have done your show. So it's not always just a clean slate. However, Rochester, I had never played with anybody there, but they did a fantastic job. Norfolk, actually that was kind of interesting. A lot of those shows, we had a lot of new musicians, but it worked out great. I would say the most challenging thing was we were at the airport in, I think we were at our connection. We were connecting in Baltimore, and I got a call from the keyboard player. He couldn't make it to Norfolk. So we were 10 hours before the show at the Norfolk Waterfront Jazz Festival, which is a huge festival. Like 8,000 people were there, and we needed a keyboard player in 10 hours. And shout out to Ken Friend, awesome bass player from Richmond. He was doing the show, and he found a keyboard player there in Norfolk who just came in and just destroyed. His name was Casey Square, so a huge shout out. But yeah, I think that was the challenge. And the other challenge that was kind of scary was when we woke up in Milwaukee, our flight was delayed and we were going to miss our connection and just miss the gig in Rochester. So I had to get on my phone real quick, and I found a flight out of Chicago that was direct. But then we had to literally throw our stuff in the car, drive to Chicago, and to catch the flight. We barely made it. But once we got to Rochester, it's like, okay, now we can kind of, you know, breathe a sigh.
Yeah.
And then we did Rochester, we did Elmira. Those were pretty smooth. But then to wait, you know, be on the way to Norfolk and lose our keyboard player was like, you know.
Well, yeah, and I think for me the toughest part is the 1 to 2 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah, that was wild.
And then not having a meal when it's time to eat. You know, the night of the show in Racine, we didn't have dinner, and I really didn't eat anything other than breakfast because they had brought food to the hotel. I don't know who it was from. I think like the promoter or something, or I don't know. But I guess they didn't get the memo that I'm vegetarian, so...
Oh, that was Elmira. That wasn't Racine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then in Elmira too. I didn't really have a meal.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go to the venue, and then the catering. It was like fried chicken and like potato salad or something. I don't know, but like nothing that I could eat.
Yeah.
So I ate a roll before the show, and then after the show, usually in places that are like small cities, everything closes at like 9. And so the shows usually let out in between 10 and midnight, and so there's nothing to eat.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have any dinner. And we had a Kringle. I think it's like a Midwest thing. It's like a pastry.
Ooh, but, so good. That was our dinner.
So
it was pastry.
We had a pastry in the hotel at like midnight, and then only slept for 1 hour. So it's like hard doing that.
In Elmira, though, we totally rocked the Buffalo Wild Wings, and that worked out pretty well. So we called them. They were going to close at 10. We called them at like 9:50, and by the time we got there, the door was locked. But they did fulfill our order. They let us in and let us grab the order. So that worked out.
Shelly Singleton, when I was talking about my hotel keys, she says those hotel keys have your personal info on them. Cut them up when you throw them, or cut them up when you throw them away. Oh, yeah, I think it'll be okay because they're all deactivated when we leave. So I think it's all right.
Well, we got time for one more question. We'll have to get to the rest next week. We get so many great questions. Do you have one more?
more? I don't think so.
Oh.
People are just commenting on also like when shows get out late, there's no food. But a lot of the times, don't you guys eat at these shows? Look, I'm like, the patrons are getting fed, and
Kat has
and I can't get fed.
Kat is highly offended, as you can tell. Gotta have those meals ready.
Yes,
Well,
I
you know
think
what
I
I've been
have like
doing?
a problem. I have to like have some kind of snack, like every couple of hours. Adam can eat and then not really be hungry for like 4 hours or longer, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Well, you know what I've been doing? Hint, hint. Is I always have a bunch of protein bars with me. So, yeah, ideally it would be great to have a meal. But if it doesn't happen, then I can grab one of those, at least make it through the show, and then figure it out later.
I could. When I buy them myself, I can. But a lot of the times, Adam will buy our protein bars, and they're always drenched in chocolate or something. And I don't really like chocolate, and I can't have chocolate before I sing. So he's like, here, have a bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't eat that.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I think that's all. We got through our Ask Adam questions.
Awesome.
People are laughing at us. They're putting all the laughing emojis up.
Yeah. That is too funny. Well, thank you so much,
You're
honey. And we
welcome.
will see you next week.
Alrighty, bye guys. Thank you.
Awesome. So this has been so much fun with you guys. We will be back with you next Wednesday. I am efforting. I will have one of my special guests from my album will appear next week. I'm just not quite sure who yet because we're working through their tour schedule. So I'll announce that throughout the week. But make sure you tune in next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will continue the Rising Up reveal party and just keep the good vibes rolling. I've got one more tune for you before we get out of here. And I picked this tune because up in the Colorado Springs, we ran into Spyro Gyra, and they, of course, always sound amazing. And so this was a tune I cut my teeth on when I was first starting off in the industry, and it's called Shaker Song. So I hope you enjoy. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a distinct honor to share another Wednesday with you. Huge shout out to the one and only Julian Vaughn for coming through and playing not only from the archives, Traveling Mood, but the brand new track off Rising Up. It's called Right On, Right On. If you want to support the show, we make it super easy. Just click the link in the description. We've got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Of course, you can do stars. You can go to my website and you can get all of my albums, a bunch of different merch there. And of course, you can pre-order the brand new album, Rising Up. I will ship it right out to you, right here from Southern California, and sign it for you as well. So appreciate you guys so much for coming through. Hope to see you next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on AH Live. Have a great night.